Congratulations on your new Mopec Maestro Grossing Station. In this training video, we're going to cover your training checklist that should be with your grossing station and can be downloaded from our website at mopec.com/maestro. And we're going to just go through step by step everything from the point after your grossing station has been installed. So we're going to cover everything from turning the grossing station on to some of the features of the touchscreen, to also just walking through some of the additional accessories and options that your grossing station may or could get. So let's start off with just turning the station on. Power switch is going to be on your main column here. Now you'll notice that the station that we're looking at is a left sync station. Because our stations are reversible, the majority of stations are actually have a switch on the right. But it's going to be in the same spot on either one, and it's going to be at the top of that pillar there. Once you hit the power switch on, you'll hear the station kick on, and it takes a minute or so to fully power up. You'll see the screen is still blank, but it does have a black screen. And while we wait for that to power up, depending on your settings, your lights may or may not turn on right away. But it takes about 1 minute for that switch to turn on and off. Now, when we walk through the plugs and accessories here later, you'll see that there is actually a plug in the back that always remains turned on, even when the station has been powered off. So we'll walk through that in just a little bit. Now you can see our screen is on, which means our grossing station is on. However, our lights are still off. So we'll walk through kind of turning on the lights and some of that in just a little bit here. The first thing I want to talk about while we're looking at the full station here is our pegboard system. This is our ensemble pegboard system, and you'll see that every grossing station you have comes with this pegboard system in the back here. We've got the pegboard in the back and additional pegboard right down here at the bottom near the cutting surface. You'll notice that this station also has 2 pegboard wings. These wings are adjustable. You can see that they have a little notch here that allows them to rest, but if you lift up the pegboard wing, you can adjust it into multiple settings depending on your preference. If this station were in a corner, for example, you could actually put this at a full 90-degree angle and have additional pegboard space on either side. If your station does not have pegboard wings and you are thinking to yourself now seeing this video, oh man, I wish we had those, these can be added in the field. It's a very simple attachment here, and it just screws right into the side. So these can be ordered separately from the unit that you currently have. So as I said here, we've got 2 pegboard wings, and we've got our back pegboard. Each station does come standard with a couple of the pegboard accessories. However, there are well over 30 now pegboard accessories that you can order for your grossing station. And some of the ones featured here, this is actually a customer's unit, so it may or you may or may not have some of the same accessories that are with this model. If you do want to view additional accessories, there is a QR code you can scan right here on your station that will allow you to view all of the available accessories for your Maestro grossing station. Now, in addition to the pegboard, we also have the opposite of your touchscreen. The other column has an adjustable track. And you can see this customer has ordered a keyboard stand and a monitor mount. So you have a keyboard mount and a monitor mount on this that can be completely adjusted anywhere from the top of the work surface here all the way to the top of the hood. And this track runs the entire height, and you can adjust wherever you want. There are some other spots on the station for keyboard mounts, so you can get a hitch mount that it also can be mounted from the actual work surface, or there's also an option for a keyboard drawer insert here in the center. We also have monitor mounts that can go directly on the pegboard. We have customers that like to either put their monitor off to one side, or some that actually really prefer to do a center mount, so they're not always looking off to the side. Now, at the top of the pegboard mount, you'll see that we have this black plastic here. This black plastic is not just to make it look pretty. This black plastic is actually functional, and it is to help wrap up all of those extra cords that you're going to sometimes have on the grossing station. In this example, we're going to use the barcode scanner here to show you how this works. So above on the top, we've got our cord routing channel, and all we have to do is take this cord, and to prevent it from kind of hanging everywhere on the grossing station, it can simply be tucked into the top here. And then once we've tucked it in the top, we take our excess cord and we're going to push it right through one of our channels that takes us to the back, takes us to the side of the station. So we can just simply feed that excess through there. And you'll notice that these ports are both at the top and at the bottom of the back of the grossing station here. So if you have, for example, a keyboard wire that's running along your mount here, and you want to run it right back through here into your PC, you can do that. If you have one that's running somewhere from the monitor and you want to run it through the top, you can do that. You don't have to have wires hanging all over your grossing station causing a hazard. So now let's go ahead and walk around. We'll take a look at the back. So now that we've fed our wire through the front end, I'm going to show you on the back end here what we're going to do. First, I'll show you down here what you can't see up here, because we actually have one of our very convenient PC mounts right here. So this is where you would actually mount your PC unit that you would be feeding this USB cable to. However, on the bottom here, you can see we've got a nice hole with a rubber seal around it to help ensure your fingers don't get cut. And that's where you would basically just feed the wire from one end to the other, and you can reach right around one side to the other. If it's easier for this too, you can remove the pegboard and the pegboard wing, and you can easily reach around and fit your hands on both sides and feed the wire right through. So we already started the wire through here, and I'm just going to grab it out of the top. And so now I can pull that wire right down through here, and this was the wire that we fed through for our barcode scanner. And now you can see that even with this wire, we do have extra. Now, if we had a PC here, it's not quite enough extra that we would need to wrap it. But if you want to swing around here, we'll look and see you've got two things. You've got right here, we've got two metal flanges that come out, and this is for wrapping excess cords, so that again, off the side of your grossing station, you don't have all of these dangerous cords laying down. You can take any excess cords and you can just wrap them right around here, and that will help ensure that you don't have extra cords laying around. This plug receptacle here will always be powered on as long as the station is hooked up to electricity, even when the power to the rest of the grossing station has been turned off. So when you turn off the power to the grossing station, this plug stays on, which allows you to keep your PC plugged into it and prevents your PC from being shut off with a hard reset, and prevents you from having to recycle the power cycle for your computer all the time. Now, as you can see, we've fed our cord right through the cable routing, and we've got it routed right through the port on the side here. Now, as I mentioned on the back, we have a plug receptacle on the back that is GFCI and is disconnected from the circuit that's on the front here. So that one is always on even with when this power is shut off. However, all of the plugs on the front of the station are all tied to the power switch that's on the front of the station as well. So you'll see you have one plug receptacle here with two USB ports as well, and then another plug receptacle on the opposite side bottom that has two USB ports as well, and then the GFCI up at the top there on the opposite side as well, providing you with 6 plugs in the front of the station along with 4 USB ports. All right, next we're going to talk about the sink and the hand and end rinse functionality of the grossing station. So on the sink side of the grossing station, there's a couple of different controls. Unlike your normal sink at home, if you turn on the valve here, nothing happens. What this is just your hot and cold temperature mixing. So we've got that is actually separate to the functionality that makes the water actually flow. Now, this sink is not currently hooked up to water, so I'll show you how each of these work, but you'll have to just imagine with me that there's water coming out. So even if this station was off, or was hooked up to water right now, there would be no water coming out until we either turned it on using one of our multiple ways, depending on which options you've included in your station. This station, for example, uses infrared. So by waving my hand in front of this sensor, you can hear that click. And if there were water hooked up to the station, it would be running right through here right now. Now, many stations, folks add a foot pedal operation. So this station, actually, we just have the foot pedal sitting under it because they went for infrared only and not infrared and foot pedal. If you had a foot pedal, it would actually come through this part right here on the station. This foot pedal would come right through here and it would operate in the same way. Press it to turn it on, press it to turn it off. And then adjust the hot and cold accordingly here. Now that's the sync functionality. On the opposite side of the station, you're going to have your hand rinse. So this unit can be completely pulled out here and used to spray down the unit. Again, functions in the same way in that you have your hot and cold mixing valve, and then to actually use the unit, you have to press it here. It does have a little lock in place if you need to lock it down, and you need to rinse off your whole workspace area here. This unit does not have end rinse. However, if it did, it would be right here and the valve would be right here. Right now we'll show you what that end rinse looks like and how that functionality works. Now that you can see all of the water flow functionality of the grossing station, when the water goes down the drain here to turn on your garbage disposal, you have your garbage disposal controls right here. Just a simple press it in, and you can hear that garbage disposal is turned on. You must press it again to shut it off. One of the last buttons on the front of your grossing station here, now that we've covered all of your sink valves and your garbage disposal button, is the elevation button. We put that button right down here for you. And I'm not going to elevate it all the way because, as you can see, this station is balancing on some dollies here. However, this station will elevate a full 12 inches from its lowest height. This will allow you to accommodate different, whether you want to stand or sit, or different users at different heights. If your station comes equipped with formalin dispensing, I'm going to walk you through the steps on how to get your initial fill of formalin into the tank, how the dispensing works, and how the complementary formalin collection works as well. So to start, the very first thing you're going to notice is that on your touch screen, when the formalin tank is empty, you have a formalin low notification on your touch screen. That is just because we haven't put any formalin into the station yet. First thing we want to do before we start the process is we want to make sure that our tap is pushed back, and that's how we know that the tap is off. So if you push it back towards the back of the station, that's going to allow us to know that our dispensing tap is off, so that when we start to fill it, it doesn't start to flow out on us. Now, once we've done that, then we can start the process of getting all of our formalin pumped into the tank. Now, what's interesting about the Maestro Grossing Station's formalin dispensing is that it is a gravity-fed system. But in order for it to be gravity-fed, we need to pump the formalin up so that it can be fed downward to your spout. So to do that, we're going to go under the station. Now, when we open up the station and you first open up your doors, it may look a little intimidating, and you may need some scissors to cut any zip ties that are down here. I'm going to use my trusty AG007 Mopec shears, and we're going to first grab one of the two hoses that's in the back here, and I'm going to cut the zip tie so that I have full room. Now this zip tie may or may not have been removed during your installation process. Now you'll notice you have one hose that has that's reinforced threaded, and then you have another clear hose back here. The good news is it'd be very difficult to mess this up because nothing fits incorrectly between collection and dispensing. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move my caddy here. Now yours obviously will already not be on the floor, so it'll be easy to wheel out of the way. This is our Formalin collection caddy, and I'm just going to set that aside for a moment here. And then I'm just going to pull out these two hoses, and I'm going to cut the zip tie on both of them so we can easily see what we've got going on here. Now you've got two hoses. You've got your Formalin dispensing hose, which has a quick connect on the end of it, and you have your Formalin collection, or what collects your waste Formalin hose. For the purposes of this part of the video, we're going to set this aside. We're going to set our collection hose aside so it's out of our way. And we're going to set aside our collection carboy. And we're just going to look at what we have to do to hook up our quick disconnect to our Formalin and fill our Formalin into our station. Now, I grabbed a box of a 2.5 gallon cubetainer of Formalin. We recommend Mopec brand Formalin for the Mopec Maestro Grossing Station. And what we're going to do is you'll notice that when I first open this, this does not connect to this. However, with your station, there is also an adapter. What this adapter does is it screws directly onto your standard Formalin cube, and it creates the quick disconnect connection that we need. Once that's on there, you can pull it to make sure it's secure, and then you can tuck the station back underneath, or if you've purchased one of our Formalin cube caddies, you can set it right on your caddy and wheel it underneath. And now that we've put it in there, we are going to start pumping the Formalin up into the tank. Now the tank is actually behind the pegboard. So what we're going to do, this green button right here is your Formalin pump. So I'm going to press this button, and you'll hear that pump start running. So now when that pump is running, it is going to take a full 5 gallons. So in our case, we're going to have to use 2.5 gallon cubetainers to fill that up all of the way. And once it's full, there is no visual indicator that lets you know that it is full. The only indicator is when you press the pump button, you won't hear it run anymore. And that's because we've included that as a safety feature to ensure that you don't overfill your Formalin tank. When that float gets to the full level, it simply will not allow the pump to run. So you'll know once you've filled this up completely that you'll know it's full by the fact that this won't run. The moment you start filling it, you will notice that on your touch screen, your Formalin level has now moved to having a green check mark. Now, as you look at that same touch screen, you'll see we have two errors that are still showing up on our screen, and that's Formalin collection and leak. And I'll walk you through those as we walk through the Formalin collection process. So now that we've filled our Formalin tank, as I said, our Formalin level's full. We've ran the pump to the point that it is no longer running, and we know that we have a 5 gallon tank of Formalin filled up. I now want to start dispensing Formalin. So now I'm going to pull the tap forward. Now you notice as I pull the tap forward, nothing comes out, even though we just filled the tank. If that happens, that's because your flow control valve has been turned all the way to choke the Formalin. Now, you can adjust this accordingly, and I'm just going to let it run into this bucket here. You can see that as I adjust the flow control, it can change how fast or how slow I want the Formalin to come out. Because we use a gravity-fed system, no matter how fast you go, when you stop, you have an instant stop. What you don't have is what comes with some pressurized systems where you get splatter of Formalin, which would be very dangerous. So we use a gravity-fed system for that exact purpose, and with this flow control, you can ensure that you don't have Formalin going all over your grossing station when you're trying to do, whether it's a small pour or a large pour. Okay, now that we have our Formalin dispensing all set up and ready to go, we can now set up our Formalin collection. So earlier, we cut off the extra zip tie here around our drainage tube, and we located our two wires that go to our sensors on our touchscreen that are both to let us know if our carboy is full and to let us know if there's a leak. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab our formalin caddy, our formalin carboy caddy here, along with the carboy. And you'll see, again, when you first look at things, it can look a little daunting because there's so many wires everywhere. But again, we're going to come in here and we're just going to very carefully cut the zip tie around these wires. And that's going to give us the ability to very quickly get things straightened out. And what you'll find is you have one wire that's running to the top of your carboy, the black wire here. And I'll actually take this right off of here to show you. And then you've got the gray wire that's running to the caddy itself. This is for any leak detection. We have leak detection sensors installed in your formalin carboy waste carboy caddy, and there's actually the same leak sensor is installed in your formalin dispensing tank as well. So the area around the tank has this same sensor around it in case there was some sort of disconnection that was causing a formalin leak. We wanted to make sure that you were alerted to it on your screen. So we're going to start with the caddy here, and we'll go ahead and we will just connect this to the wire inside. Now the good news is we reverse the male and female ends of these so that you can't connect it to the wrong one. So they are labeled for waste level and leak, and so we can look to the one that's leak, or we can look for the one that's going to fit the correct male to female fittings here. And we're just going to connect those really quickly. And the moment those are connected, we'll see that our error has now gone away. Our formalin leak error has now gone away because there's no moisture on this caddy here. Next, we're going to look at the carboy. So I'm going to go ahead and we've got one more zip tie we need to remove here. And this is for the extra caps that come with this here, and I'll show you what each of these is for. So we've got a couple of extra caps that go with our carboy. Now the carboy is open right here as it is because we're going to hook up this is exactly where we're going to hook up our hose. In order to do that, we have this bib that directly attaches to the drain hose, and that just slides right on there like so. And you want to make sure you get it fully across the top. Again, even though we have leak detection, we prefer to have it not go off. So you want to make sure that you put that all the way on. And once we've got that on, this simply inserts into the cap here. And you can see you've got these two little pegs that once they're up, it will lock it in place. And then we push them back down. And now that's locked in place completely. So once that's locked in place completely, we can also hook up the connection to our alert system. And now the formalin level alert has also the formalin collection alert has also gone away. Now it's gone to a green check mark. So these caps serve a couple of different purposes. So what we have first is when I disconnect this, now eventually this is going to get full of formalin waste. When it gets to the appropriate height, there's a float in here that will trigger this sensor to give you a notification on your screen that your formalin waste carboy is full. It is very important. This is not an audible notification. It is a visual notification. And it is important that you pay attention to that screen and look for any time that there is an alert, a red alert on your screen, because that red alert lets you know that this is full. If you continue to use this and pour formalin waste into the formalin waste system, it will continue to fill and it will eventually backfill into this hose. And while that won't cause a leak, what will happen is eventually when you have to remove this quick disconnect lid, you're going to have formalin go everywhere. So that's just something to be aware of. You want to make sure you're keeping an eye on that. Now I'm going to go ahead and disconnect this real quick. I just lift those these two tabs right here, And then now I can pull this right out. Now when we're transporting this, we want to do two things. We want to cover the hose here. The hose may, because it's a hose, right, there could be formalin that's in there even if it's not overflowing. So what we want to do is use this cap in the same way to go ahead and put it on there and to lock this in place so that while we're making a change, this hose is sealed. And we'll set that aside. And then this cap fills in this hole so you don't have formalin fumes going everywhere while you're moving the carboy or taking it to dispose of it. Now we do recommend that you use Mopec Formaway neutralizing products. Even if you have your formalin taken away by a separate chemical company, we recommend for the safety of the lab that you always neutralize waste formalin. So we have formalin, both our Formaway green and our Formaway powder, that you can actually pour the powder directly into this carboy, and after a short amount of time, the formalin is neutralized and ready to be disposed. However, is allowable in your municipality. That being said, now we can go ahead and hook this back up here. We'll take our 2 additional caps, and for now we can just set those in our caddy. We'll push these back in place. So now we've got our wires here. We can move these out of the way. And if your grossing station is not on dollies, you would just simply slide this back into place. Now that we've fully set up our formalin dispensing and our formalin collection, our formalin dispenses here from the tap, and formalin collection is done right here. The formalin collection comes equipped with this funnel. We also sell another funnel that has a screen in it if you would prefer to have a screened funnel to make sure that there's no tissue or debris that's making its way into your drain line. So you're all set up now with formalin collection. You're all set up with formalin dispensing. Our alerts, our red alerts, have now gone away, and we have formalin collection is green, which means that the carboy is not yet full of formalin, and our formalin level here is green, which means our formalin tank that's in the back here is full and not low. So we are all set and ready to go. The only other alert that we have on the bottom here that's in the green status is the airflow. Now, if this did turn red, the first thing you would want to check is to make sure that something is not obstructing your airflow back here. So we do have, which we'll talk about soon, our Mopec front air system, but our system is a backdraft system. And so oftentimes what you'll find is folks may have stacked something up in front of their airflow here, and it will, once it's gone down to a certain level, give you an alert that the airflow isn't functioning at its full capacity. If that's the case, the first thing you want to do is check to make sure that nothing is blocking your airflow. Now, along with the status side of the touchscreen here, we also have some very simple controls that you can use to customize your grossing station to your preferences. First thing we're going to talk about is your water timer. So as we mentioned earlier, if you have infrared, you're waving it on. If you have a foot pedal, you're pressing it on with your foot. You can set the duration in minutes that you would like the water to run with each on or off, with each on swing, or with each press of the button. So if I were to turn on the water here and I had my timer set for 2 minutes, that water would run consistently for 2 minutes and then shut off by itself. If I wanted to run off sooner, I could just shut it off right there. Now, we also have, going back here, we have the lights. You have your overhead lights, which you may notice if you turn your overhead lights on and they don't turn on, it's because they've been dimmed all the way to under 10%. And then you can increase it by 10% increments all the way up to 100 here, which is very, very bright. If that's not bright enough for you though, we do have our optional surface light, which is right here. If you do not have a surface light installed, this switch will not be on your touch screen. If you're looking at this now and thinking to yourself, I don't have a surface light installed, but I wish that I did, this can be installed in the field as well. Next, we're going to look at the button for our front air system here. So our front air system can be simply just turned on or off. And you can hear, if you shut it off, our fan noise has gone down significantly. Turn it right back on. Now our pad and front air system, what that does is that provides a laminar airflow over the work surface, which just increases the safety and reduces the formalin fumes that are going to be between you and your grossing station, and helps push those fumes back towards the backdraft ventilation here. We do find that some customers want the ability to turn this off, especially if you're using smaller tissue and doing smaller dissection here. Sometimes the airflow is just simply too much. And so we want it to be really quick and easy for you to be able to turn on and off with that touch screen. That covers the features that are in your touch screen, and it covers all of the features that are on the front of your station here. And next, the only thing we need to talk about is maintenance. For the proper maintenance of your station, we have a whole line of cleaning products that are available that we recommend for appropriate cleaning of the Mopec Maestro Grossing Station. First, we have our Sanipath disinfecting spray and wipes. You should be using these on a daily basis on your station, whether you have the wipes or whether you have the spray. If you have larger areas that you need to, we also have a foaming cleanser. If you have areas that you'd like to let soak in disinfectant for a little while, in addition to our disinfecting liquid spray. We also have our Easy Soak instrument cleaner. You should use this as needed on your instruments and different devices here. And then we also have our stainless steel wipes and spray, depending on which you prefer. We recommend that you at least do this monthly. However, as you well know, just in the little while we've been doing this video, we have fingerprints all over the stainless steel grossing station. So this can also be done as needed to remove fingerprints from the station and keep it clean. Again, we want to thank you and congratulate you on the purchase of your new Mopec Maestro Grossing Station. We are grateful to have you as a customer, and we are excited to be a part of helping you be in a safer and more ergonomic lab. As a token of our appreciation, we also sent with your grossing station this formalin cube here, which is not full of formalin, but is however full of a bunch of Mopec consumables that you can try to use on your new Mopec Maestro Grossing Station.